The Shepnaz podcast begins now.
It's the Shepnaz podcast by Shepherd Church. Everything we do is to connect our community in a meaningful relationship with Christ, and we are expecting great things. My name's Joey. I get to host, and today will mark the first episode in a mini-series that we're calling Stories with Shirley. Pastor Rob recently sat down with Shirley Grace to talk about her story and the story of Shepherd Church. You see, Shirley was married to E.K. Richie, a pastor of Shepherd Church, one that we all owe a great deal to, but her story is even bigger than that. And I don't want to steal any thunder, so I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Rob and Shirley and let them take it away.
Once you get started, you're probably not going to want to quit.
Oh, I know it.
It's so fun.
I really like to talk.
I know. I've heard that.
You heard that? Now, where did you hear that?
I just know that.
Oh.
Well,
let's be honest.
All right. So I think we're ready. This is good. So, all right. So we'll just get started and see how it goes. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Want to welcome everybody to the podcast today. Today we are recording live from Studio 2. Studio 2 is, we're at Shirley Grace's house, and Shirley was the pastor's wife at Shepherd for a really long time. We're calling this Studio 2 because the first studio is my office, which also used to be your bedroom, right?
Right.
Yeah, so the house where all the church pastors' offices are is the house that Shirley lived in for. How long did you live in that house?
I don't remember.
A long time?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And we were talking earlier that Hamilton Road, when you lived there, was just a 2-lane road.
Right.
And wasn't noisy, didn't hear cars and all that other kind of stuff. What was it like back there?
Well, across the road there was a herd of cattle, and you could hear them at night, and it was just very simple.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So it's now I listen to fire trucks and ambulances and people with no mufflers driving by, and you listen to cows mooing at night.
That's right.
I prefer the cows. I think that would be better. So great. Well, for those of you who don't know, we're at Shirley Richie's place, and Shirley is. How long have you been a part of Shepherd, Shirley?
Well, how long's it been, Kathy?
1950.
1950. So because I'm so fast on my feet with math, that's 78 years, I believe. So that's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a long time.
So that's amazing because you're only 79.
That's right. Well, no, 76, 75.
It's going backwards. So. All right, good, great. Well, if you don't know, again, I think I said this, Shirley was E.K. Richie's husband, and he was the pastor of the church for a long time. And then when he passed away, you married Jim Grace, who was also part of the church. And so we're here and just want to hear some of the stories about the church and about you. We know that you've got some great stories. I've heard you're a great storyteller, and you know lots of things about the history of our church. So we just wanted to give you an opportunity to tell some stories. But before we do that, thought it'd be nice to get to know you a little bit. So a lot of times when people come to a church, they just kind of, especially a pastor and his wife, they just think they've been together forever, and they, you came out of the womb knowing the Lord. But tell us a little bit about your conversion experience. Like, how did you come to know Jesus, and how old were you, and how did that happen for you?
Well, I wasn't raised in the church. When I was growing up, my folks didn't go to church. And I always had I couldn't understand. I always had a hunger to know something about the Lord. Mm-hmm. And it was during the war, and my brother was right in the midst of the fight.
Is this World War II?
Yes.
Okay.
And, of course, my mom was just beside herself worrying about him. Mm-hmm. And one day, the pastor of the church came to the house, and we weren't going to church, but he came and he said, I just want you to know that we are starting to have some all-night prayer meetings for those boys that are right in the thick of the battle, and we're going to be praying for your son. And when he left, my mom said, we're going to church. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't there very long until I hit the altar and really gave my heart to the Lord. And it's held good until today.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. So you didn't grow up in a Christian home, but
No.
It was the war that brought got your mom to take you to church.
That's right. She said, and she always was a believer, but we just never went to church.
Mm-hmm. How old were you when that happened?
When we started going to church?
Yeah. Well,
I was a teenager. I don't know exactly where, but I was a young teenager when they started. Mm-hmm. And I never will forget one of the first times I went to Sunday school. I was out in the yard, and my mom was out there, and I said to her, Mom, what's adultery? And she said, Shirley, if you get to talking like that, I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap. And I couldn't understand that because I'd heard it in Sunday school.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's funny. Oh, the terrible things you learn at church, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So then when you came to know the Lord, like what was it like after that? Did you continue to stay and be a part of the church, and how did you grow in your walk
it
with the
was
Lord?
so new to me. We went to the Pilgrim Holiness Church,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all so new. I loved going, and I remember asking the pastor if it'd be all right if I came to prayer meeting. And so it was just starting from the scratch.
Yeah. So what were the prayer meetings like when you went to those?
Well, they always had a prayer meeting on Wednesday night, and people would testify, and we'd spend a lot of time praying.
Uh-huh.
And it was every Wednesday night.
Yep. So probably the really cool thing was hearing everybody else's stories as well, what God was doing in their life as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's neat.
And you did know the people better.
Yeah, yep. I remember growing up, we had some prayer meetings like that. It was actually our Sunday night service, and everybody had an opportunity to share a testimony that night if they wanted, and remember hearing testimonies, and just it was really cool stories to hear how God was working in people's lives. So, yeah. So where was that? Where did you live when all of that happened? When you were a teenager, were you living in this area?
I lived in Dayton, Ohio.
In Dayton, okay. And then you moved to Columbus at some point?
Well, when I got married.
Uh-huh. And tell us about that. Like so you got married to Reverend Richie, and how did you guys meet?
Well, they were having a youth revival, and they called me to be the preacher.
At Shepherd?
Yeah.
So he was the pastor at Shepherd.
Yeah.
And they were having
his wife had passed away. Mm-hmm. And then we had a real good meeting.
And you were the preacher.
Yeah,
for the youth revival.
I was the preacher.
All right. Great. It's all starting to make sense to me now.
That makes sense?
Well, you're just so good at talking.
Oh, boy, can you really pour it on.
Each month, our church gathers for an intentional time of prayer. Ignite happens on the first Tuesday of every month. We begin with expectant worship and then move into a time of prayer led by Pastor Rob. March 7th is the next Ignite from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Plus, we've even got programming for your kids. We'll see you here at Shepherd on March 7th for Ignite.
Maybe you've been hanging around Shepherd Church community for a while, or even just a short bit, but have you become a member yet? Join us on Wednesday evening, March 8th at 6:30 p.m. to find out about church membership. In this class, you will learn all about our church, what we believe, and what church membership means. If you're ready to take this step, email podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know that you'd like to sign up, or check the box on the connection card.
We want to get to know you. Each month, we've got an opportunity. If you're new around here, you're invited to Pizza with the Pastors at Massey's Pizza in Gahanna. The next one happens Monday, March 20th. You can RSVP by emailing Pastor Rob at rpaul@shepnaz.org. We're looking forward to seeing you and your family there.
So you were a preacher in the Nazarene church a long time ago. So that's one of the unique things about the church is the Church of the Nazarene is that we have women pastors. And so you were kind of pioneering that. That was back in the early days, wasn't it?
Well, it was, yeah. But I felt a call to preach, but I didn't know that I didn't feel like it was going to be a lifelong thing. So I held some meetings, and I did have one there, and that's how I met Ed.
Uh-huh. All right. So I wonder if he called you on purpose because he knew you.
Well, I heard that he asked a lot of people that has had me. Albert Specking and some you know.
Yeah, I recall that name. Yeah, he's been around for a long. Well,
oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you came and you did the revival.
Yeah.
And it went well. And where I try not to get ahead of myself too much. Where was the revival? It was at Shepherd, but where was the church located at that time?
They're on Fifth Avenue.
On Fifth Avenue. Okay. And so that's the second location of this church.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so let's go back into your relationship a little bit more. So he had you at the revival, and that's how you guys met. And then how did your relationship grow from that?
Well, he told me, he said that I really, when I went any place, it was on the bus, and he told me, he said, why don't you just call me when you get in, and I'll take you home. So that's how it started.
So he gave you a ride home after revival, huh?
Oh, yeah. When I'd come home from revival, he'd be there to meet me, take me out to dinner.
Oh, nice. Smart fella. So just for those of you younger people who might be listening, we do have revival coming up in April. So this is a way to get to know someone. Give them a ride home after revival. So,
right.
Yep. All right. So then you guys dated for a while, I'm guessing, and all that stuff. Like how does it go dating a pastor? How does that go?
Ask Monica.
I wasn't a pastor when we were dating yet, though,
Well, the people were very kind to me, and it just one of those things.
Yeah. And so then you got married, and...
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we didn't just live together.
Well, I didn't mean it like that, but... So you guys can see what I'm up against here, so... Okay, so you got married, and then you had children.
Well, we did.
I do.
There's one of them over there. Then there was
just
two boys.
To Kathy. Okay.
And my son Ed, and then my son Steve passed away.
Okay.
So.
All right. So tell us about what it was like to be the pastor's wife at Shepherd. So did you have specific jobs or responsibilities, or was just being the pastor's wife enough?
Well, I always taught Sunday school, and we had, of course, we were up against all this building, so I'd have prayer meetings at the house. Every Thursday morning? And have somebody come and watch the kids, and we'd go in the other room there and spend time praying. And that was something I did regularly. And if he needed me, I'd go calling with him, but not very often. It was just...
Yeah.
And...
well, when you say calling, what does that mean? Because that's not something that we do a lot nowadays. But I know it's important.
Find out somebody was having trouble, we'd go to the house and have prayer with them.
Did you guys do that a lot?
He did. but I didn't go with him often.
Yeah. Yep. Good. So you taught Sunday school and all that.
Oh, yeah. Always taught Sunday
Yep.
school. Had vacation Bible school.
Mm-hmm. And then did you work outside of the home at some point?
Not until later.
Mm-hmm. And what was that you did?
Well, I hadn't been to college, and one day I just felt like the Lord told me that I needed to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so definite that I called Ohio State and had an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down and met with this fella, and I had an appointment set up. And Ed came home, and I said, guess what I did? When I told him, he said, well, you finally got some sense. So then I did graduate from Ohio State.
Okay.
And then I started teaching.
Uh-huh.
And I taught back here at Jefferson for 27 years, I think.
Wow. Jefferson Elementary here in Gahanna.
What's that?
Jefferson Elementary here in Gahanna?
Yeah, right across the yard here.
Okay. And for 27 years?
Yeah.
Did you say second grade?
Yeah.
Second grade. So you probably had some people who were part of the church in your class.
Yes, I did.
Yep. Any good stories from anybody in the church you want to tell about?
No, I wouldn't tell on them. No, sir.
Spoken like a good
They
teacher.
were all little angels because I was in charge of them.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of the Shepnaz podcast. We want to thank Shirley for opening her home to Pastor Rob and Joe as they came to hear her story. And we're thankful for you for listening. Hey, share this with a friend and subscribe wherever you get your audio. Leave us a nice 5-star review. You can email us at podcast@shepnaz.org to get a hold of us. And as always, you can find out more about what's going on at Shepherd through our app, social media pages, and of course at shepnaz.org. For Pastor Rob and Shirley Grace, my name's Joey. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.